Hello, it is Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Tuesday puzzle, so it should be a relatively approachable, themed crossword for us today, like we had yesterday. Maybe the tiniest touch more difficult, although I thought maybe yesterday was on the slightly tricky side for a Monday, but who knows. In any case, this hopefully approachable edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Overfull Hitbox, Quotidiophile, Kathleen Quinn, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark, the indomitable Shulmaster, and the incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the 6 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support. They are sustaining this channel, keeping this whole thing going. For that, I am very appreciative. And if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon as well, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve or click the link in the description field underneath the video. There, of course, you can find all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And as a benefactor, you also get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses official mug. So, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please do so if you've, consider doing so anyway. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but give it a think. And you can also join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field underneath the video. And before we get on to today's solve, I wanted to acknowledge a fairly considerable oversight that I committed with respect to yesterday's theme. And this was pointed out by a few people in the crosses, and I think David Plank might have been the first person to point it out. The revealer clue was, the revealer answer, I should say, was as seen on TV, and each of the theme answers have names beginning with A and surnames beginning with S. So it was AS seen on TV, and Ben Ward points out, I didn't clock the parsed differently bit of the clue, and that's true, I didn't. This was a case where I was solving it almost in the way I would solve not on camera, which was sort of taking the quickest path to each answer. And so I sort of inferred the answer was as seen on TV before actually reading the clue. So then when I did look at the clue, all I did was read enough of it to confirm that my suspicion as seen on TV was correct. Didn't bother reading the clue. I don't, maybe I did read the whole thing, but I certainly didn't read it carefully or pay attention to that language. So that was entirely my fault. I just was not being very observant or comprehensive. And so, yeah, and it's very clever too. The AS seen on TV, as seen on TV. It really does elevate what to me seemed like a relatively straightforward theme. And that just gave it a bit of extra cleverness that I completely missed. So sorry about that, and thanks to those of you who pointed it out. All right, let's get on to today's crossword by Lee Taylor. Lee Taylor's constructed around half a dozen puzzles for the New York Times, and this crossword, of course, was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see what we have. Beverage that may come with a bag. I don't know. Milk in Canada comes in a bag, or can do anyway. I don't know. Gulf nation, Oman, maybe? Oman is often associated with its Gulf in the crossword. Plow pullers, oxen, maybe? Yeah. Men's Warehouse, clothing chain. I remember seeing ads for them growing up. This is going to be Oman, yeah. I thought it was going to be, and it looks like it is. This is the ampersand, which is the and symbol, and like a twangy voice is nasal. This looks like Xena, the warrior princess. Yes, warrior princess of old TV. There we go. Oh, and here's one of our theme clues. Poets in exactly where we would expect it to be. Poets plus 10 equals serves drinks. Interesting. What is that? Bartends? Why is that the answer? Is it? Maybe it's not. Bart ends. Is that poets? Oh, 10. Oh, bards. Oh, right. Sorry. Okay. Sorry for all of I'm sure many of you who are racing ahead of me on this one. So poets are bards, B-A-R-D-S. plus 10, literally just the word for the number 10, equals serves drinks, bartends. So there we go. It's a sort of a cryptic clue in a way. Yeah. I mean, you could construct something like, you could construct this in actual cryptic crossword form with something like a decade within poets results in drink service or something. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. You'd want to do it better than that. But you could tweak this to actually conform to the conventions of cryptic crossword cluing. But anyway, that's a subject for a different video. British bye-bye, ta-ta maybe. Kazakhs and Uzbeks, e.g. Kazakhs and Uzbeks. Why could I not think of what this word would be? Oh, that's so frustrating. Ugh. All right, hot sauce brand Tabasco, looks like. Oh, are they simply Asians? Okay, I was looking for something more specific, but that might just be the answer. Okay. Whiteboard cleaners, erasers. There you go. Jam flavor. Some kind of berry, maybe. Beverage that may come with a bag. Oh, tea bag. Right. Okay. I was thinking of something. I don't know. I was thinking of putting the liquid in a bag. I don't know why I kept thinking that, even though there isn't anything specific about the clue that indicates that. Dada artist. Jean or Jean Arp. Certainly recognize the name. It's one of those horrible cases where you realize you've only ever read about someone and now you don't know how their name is pronounced. Jam flavor. Oh, apricot. There we go. And country with the longest border along the Adriatic Sea. Croatia, I suppose it must be. That's interesting. Karate-like exercise program. Taibo. I think that's sort of exercise program inspired by martial arts. Oh, here we go. Another one of these. Annoyed plus 2. Success. So do we think the number is always going to be simply the spelling of the number? Because if so, that'll make these easier. Oh, no, it's not. It works. Oh, it worked, maybe. Annoyed. Yes, annoyed is irked. So annoyed is irked, and then inside of that, we have simply the number 2, and that equals success. It worked. Mailing label abbreviation, you could put attention on an envelope or something to indicate to whom it is being specifically addressed if you're sending it to, I don't know, a company or something. Revered animals in ancient Egypt were cats, famously, and they may share a tartan. So a Scottish clan could share a tartan, that pattern that you'd wear on, I guess, a physical tartan. Kilmer, who played Batman, Val Kilmer, and Stratford-upon-Avon is the birthplace of Shakespeare, famously. So we have a couple British clues parallel to one another right there. One England, one Scotland. Supervisor plus 9 equals quality that makes a fish hard to eat. Boniness or bone. Supervisor, a boss, bone. It's something. I'm something like this, but I can't seem to close the deal. Supervisor. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I read 9 and then I put 1 in there. That was strange. That was incredibly weird. I guess because I don't know. My brain wasn't working. Anyway, it is boniness, and 9 is the number that's in there. Okay, so we have boss. We have boss surrounding 9. All right, relating to living things is biotic. Is that maybe the case? Not sure. Part of the leg below the knee, shin. Oops. Language spoken west of 15 across, and 15 across capital Vietnam. So we have Lao and Hanoi. That looks right. Noisy drinkers sound. You maybe make a slurp if you're drinking noisily. And free as a seat. Untaken. The seat is not taken. Making turbulent is roiling waters, for instance. And Guernica painter is Picasso. I think Guernica maybe was also referenced in a recent crossword. First U.S. state alphabetically, abbreviation, well, it looks like it's Alabama. And gear rented at a mountain could be skis. You could rent skis at a ski slope on the mountain. Growths on rocks and bark could be lichens. And actress Lupita Nyong'o, kaput, if something is kaput, it's shot, it's dead. And a jaded person is a cynic, someone who's cynical. So I think, did I get everything over here? Did I miss? Just making sure I didn't miss reading anything. Small amphibian plus 7 equals story worth covering. News event, yes. So we have, what? A newt is a small, right, there we go. Newt is a small amphibian. These are about 50-50 for whether, I guess it makes sense. Sometimes you'll get them through the sort of full definition and sometimes through the wordplay. All right. Actor Beatty, Ned Beatty, I've heard of. Is Ned Beatty no, I don't know. I don't think I can think who he is. Vivaldi duet. So you'd think this to refer to the composer Vivaldi and be a piece of music, but I think all it is referring to the duet of V's, the duet of the letter V in Vivaldi's name. So I think we'll just put in V's. And Javier Bardem's role in 2021 being the Ricardos. Oh, right, okay. I didn't actually see this, but he must have played Desi Arnaz, Lucille Ball's husband. Okay, one on the lam is an escapee, so one fleeing, one at large. And a basilica recess, so in a church, for instance, could be an apse. And a pub serving, you could serve someone a pint of ale, maybe in a pub, or lager, or whatever. Words written in marble. An epitaph on somebody's gravestone, there we go. So written, literally etched in marble. To make a faux pas is to err, to commit an error. And if one pulls out of a deal, one reneges, a word I've always found surprising in its pronunciation, because it looks like it should be reneges or something like that. I mean, usually in this construction, that G is usually soft. All right, pull back is retreat, I suppose. President after FDR, right, okay, so after Franklin Delano Roosevelt, we had Harry S. Truman, and then pea-brained, not smart. Right, and here's one of these. Phase plus 1 equals ancient period. Stone Age? Yes, does that work? Yes, a phase could be a stage. So there we have that, and 1 is spelled out in there. Court entertainer is a jester, and sort of as classically depicted in, I don't know, pantomimes and things, I guess. Mitchell, whose Blue was named number 1 on NPR's 150 Greatest Albums Made by Women list. Joni Mitchell, the great Joni Mitchell, of course. And codas are ends, so you could have a coda to a piece of music, which is sort of a little end bit in a specific context. And round, and I guess that word is used more broadly to refer to the end of things in a metaphorical sense. Round of applause could be a hand. Give someone a hand. Give them a round of applause. And a civic duty of a sort is a tax, so you could have a duty levied on something, a tax. And graph line is an axis. And then younger Obama daughter, Sasha and Malia are the Obama daughters. So there we go. To lock lips is to kiss. And pull up a chair, sit, someone might encourage you to do. Parent company of Facebook they now call themselves Meta. And kittens' cries are Muse. Garden pavilion is a gazebo. And if one makes after expenses, one nets, so clears that much money. Many births in late spring, astrologically. Oh no, I'm never good at just bringing these to mind. It's so annoying. I think by now I've seen them in the crossword enough, but what can you do? Staffers listed on a masthead are editors, so in a newspaper's masthead, for instance, the bit that lists the staff. Many births in late spring astrologically. Oh, right. I just looked at this. It's Gemini's. Okay. The E was what I needed to help me out. Okay. And Google Maps is a useful service. World Finance Organization, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, I assume this is. And if one is firm in one's stance, one is adamant. And an email attachment with compressed content could be a zip file. You could attach a zip file full of other files. And if you got something exactly right, you nailed it. I hope that's what happens with this crossword in a few seconds. And a family member via marriage is an in-law. And then landing spots are... why do I not see this? Your napkins place is your lap. Oh, steps is in... right, a flight of stairs with a landing, steps leading to a landing, spots on a landing. Okay. There we go. I have to admit, I found this one a bit more... I did find this a bit easier of a solve than yesterday's Monday. So that sort of thing just goes to show it is incredibly specific to each individual solver. You never know how a puzzle will strike you. And this one went pretty smoothly, I thought. I mean, it's a Tuesday, so it's meant to. But there we have it. And in this case, I don't think I missed anything with the theme. There wasn't a revealer, so I don't think there was anyway. So this was one of those themes where we just have to infer what's going on. There isn't anything that explains it in the crossword. And it's also one of those that you do essentially have to understand in order to solve. I mean, this doesn't make sense as a straight definition. Obviously, you have to interpret it as a pun, although it does include a straight definition within it. Anyway, our poets plus 10 equals serves drinks or bartends. What was the next one? Is it not till here, I suppose? Small amphibian plus 7 equals a story worth covering or a news event. Phase plus 1 equals an ancient period or the Stone Age. A supervisor plus 9 equals a quality that makes a fish hard to eat or boniness. Annoyed plus 2 equals success or it worked. And that's how I feel about this theme. It worked. I think it was a success plus 2, in other words. And it was interesting because I guess just the nature of sort of the way that we parse language and understand language, there were cases where you could sort of just jump to it even without necessarily putting the bits together. I mean, I think as soon as we start seeing these numbers, our brain starts to think about how they're spelled, and we immediately factor that into the word we're looking for. I found that really, really interesting. Some of these, they just sort of came on a more intuitive level, and I think it's just because of all of this information being given to us, our brains are able to kind of start to parse it even before we actively start going through possibilities. It's really interesting. Anyway, fun theme. I thought that was nice. It was a nice, simple sort of pseudo-cryptic theme. You could, like I was saying with bartends, you could turn these into cryptic clues. I think they would need some tinkering, but you could do that. Anyway, there we have it. That was a nice Tuesday crossword by Lee Taylor. I thought that was very well suited to a Tuesday. Let me know if you agreed. And that's that. Like I said, this week I probably won't be doing the clues from yesterday's puzzle, but we'll aim to get back to that this weekend. And so that's that for today's video. But we'll be back tomorrow, of course, with the Wednesday crossword. Maybe a little bit of a step up in difficulty for the midweek puzzle. That's often how it goes. And I hope you join me. Until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Tuesday. Take care.